I'm Debra Sofia Magdalene, and welcome to Mastery-Path Connections for another interview with digital nomads. And this evening, I'm delighted to welcome Annabel Kaye to the interview. Annabel, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, you know, who are you? How old are you? Because we've got women who'll be listening in of different age groups. And then tell us a little bit about your story, about how you started to have a semi-nomadic lifestyle.
I'm going to be 60 years old this year. So I'm not really a classic millennium digital nomad, nor am I really a silver surfer, because I love my buttons and my computers and the online world. So I think of myself, I've been talking about this to friends, as the kind of silver nomad, that I'm half and half, you know. I've been running my own business since 1980, so I'm not in startup mode. I'm not really even a new business, but I tend to think of my business as never being more than 5 years old. And this is the start of another 5-year cycle. I run an employment law and HR consultancy, but the last 5 to 10 years I've been really focused on my coffee clutch brand, which is all about supporting businesses who work with freelancers and outsourced teams rather than the classic employment model. It's a model I use, and we write and sell contracts, do advice, both legal and practical, on how to make that work. And I came to the traveling lifestyle, such as it is, because part of promoting that business involved taking up professional and public speaking. And I found myself traveling a lot, and it's a big problem. You're always trying to get home. And then the minute you get home, you fall asleep, go to bed, get up and do it again.
Yeah.
So it kind of started as something a bit more convenient than mad journeys, and I have a lovely husband who's sitting opposite me. When we first got married, he said to me, "What part of getting married are you not understanding? Is it the coming home or the staying awake when you get there?"
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, well, it was funny, but it was also very true. So it has been my attempt, not the 100% successful, to remedy that lack, really, because I looked at the amount of time I was spending going somewhere, coming back, and then 2 days later going somewhere very similar, and the amount of money I was spending on hotels and offices, and thought I can make this easier. So I'm not sure I'm 100% succeeding, but I'm on the road to something.
Yeah. So what was your plan?
Well, my husband's quite a gifted photographer.
Well,
so
can I just ask you, your computer's wobbling a little bit. Have you got a steady surface to put it on? I don't know if it's on your knee or something, but it's like a bit rocky.
Yeah, it's on my knee, actually. And if I go and put it on a table, I'll have to tidy up. So what I think I need to do is stay a bit more still, would be the answer, isn't it? Which I shall attempt. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, so my husband's a gifted photographer, and he also doesn't drive. The net result of this, photographers love dawn and they love sunsets, is that he was always saying to me quite sweetly, "Would you get up and take me to X place?" I'm a night owl. I like to see dawn on the way home, not on the way out. So it was partly my attempt to reconcile that by saying, well, if we go there the night before and we wake up there, you could take photographs at dawn and then cook me breakfast and wake me up and show me the shots. It's not always worked out that way, because sometimes breakfast hasn't happened, and sometimes the shots haven't happened, and sometimes, to be honest, the husband hasn't happened. But that was the plan, you know, to try and reconcile my speaking and writing engagements with his very understandable desire to be in beautiful places at dawn and sunset.
And how's that working for you? Has the plan worked?
Half the time it works very well, half the time it doesn't work at all well. We live in England, so we get to beautiful places and the weather's awful and he's upset because the light's wrong. I'm quite keen to explore maybe taking the van further afield. I don't think he's totally confident about my ability to reverse in French. So we're finding our way.
So what size van are you travelling in?
This is the Fiat Ducato van, which is one size up from the classic VW camper van. We hired several vans before we bought this one, and we loved the VW. You could park it anywhere, you know, it was really flexible, useful van. But not to put too fine a point on it, it didn't have any bathroom facilities.
Yeah.
And I'm not too keen to find bushes along the side of the road. If you're about to step out on stage the next day, you need to be able to wash your hair, brush your teeth, you know, put it all together. I'm not a gypsy new age traveller. I did that, by the way, in my misspent youth, but this is not what I'm attempting now. So this is the next size up. It's the smallest possible van you can have that actually has got a loo and a shower. So it's, what is it, 2.1 metres wide, 3.2 metres long. I'm not good at metrics, I'm asking. It's got a rear lounge, which means we have 2 living spaces, which is nice. So if he wants to do one thing and I want to do another, we do have some alternative space. And it's just dinky, really. And I went on a special motorhome manoeuvring course to learn how to go backwards in it, which I sorely needed.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, because I know so many women who really have got this urge to go travelling in a motorhome or a camper van, or, you know, and one of the things that's put me off personally is like the size of the vehicles and manoeuvring them. So is yours small enough that you can actually nip out to the shops in it? Because a lot of them, if they're too big, you're stuck in one place anyway.
That depends on the shops. It doesn't go down through the height barrier in your typical London car park, you know, which is about 6'6". And I think this baby's about 8 foot tall, ignoring the satellites and things that are allowing us to live stream Wi-Fi in a field. So there's probably, I allow 9 foot. I lie to my sat nav. I've got a special sat nav that is for vans and lorries, and I've actually exaggerated the height and the width and the length of this vehicle, and it doesn't send me down roads that it won't fit down. So I've done a classic and added 6 inches so that I definitely can fit wherever I go.
That's a really good tip, actually. Really good tip.
Yeah, I've also got an app on my phone called Parkopedia, and I've programmed it with the dimensions of my van. So if I need to get into a public car park, it can tell me what the nearest one is and whether it fits, and even whether when it's open, what the restrictions are and how much it costs. So the only time we've had a parking disaster was Skegness, when I flatlined my phone, and so I couldn't actually find out where the van would fit in, and we actually had to leave town not having parked at all. There may be worse fates than not being able to spend the day in Skegness, though.
Oh dear. What are some of the challenges that you faced whilst you've been, you know, in this lifestyle, and how have you overcome them?
The first one was neither of us are technically minded. So we took over the controls of really something equivalent to a small space station. We had a 1-hour induction. Clive wasn't there because he was ill, where they told me everything about the water, the electrics, the solar power. Well, we had that fitted afterwards. How to do the gas. The fridge runs on 3 fuels. There were 2 types of heating. And the only thing I remembered about it was really important to slam the side door. And I couldn't remember why until we couldn't drive off, because the central locking wasn't working because I hadn't properly shut the door. So the biggest challenge we've had has been getting to grips with technology. Neither of us are mechanically minded. The manuals are written by people who understand mechanics in Italian, and then translated to English by people who obviously don't, and given to people like me. And we actually had to sit down a friend who writes aerospace software programs for a British company that was bought by an Italian company, to get him to figure out from our manual how to get water in the shower room.
Oh wow, that's a major problem, isn't it?
Well, I found it quite entertaining. I'm not sure my husband took the same view. Today we've arrived at the point when we have water, hot and cold, in the shower room, in the sink, in the loo, though you don't want the hot water there. But I still haven't used the shower because we cannot make the plug in the shower tray unplug, and it's not a very good idea to have a shower and then leave the water slopping around and drive off. So it's been quite a mission. you know, and I do put Facebook posts up about it, which are considered quite entertaining. So tomorrow we will learn how to remove the plug from the shower if we're spare, and we may yet resume the mission of why does the fridge not appear to work on gas. So yeah, it's a lot of technology, and you have to be relaxed about not really understanding it. And I think the relaxing into not understanding it was the biggest challenge.
Yeah. So we've talked about challenges. What about highlights of your lifestyle?
Well, one of them is sitting here talking to you online using Wi-Fi that's being powered by solar power on a kind of satellite amplifier on the side of the River Severn, having left London in a heat wave on Wednesday when it was really unpleasantly hot. Now, I know you're sitting there in Turkey, so you're thinking, what? But London's not made for heat. So it's absolutely brilliant to be able to have had enough of this. Let's go. Because we're not on leave. We've just gone somewhere else to work. And although it doesn't always work, because if you've got physical meetings in London, you can't leave town and abandon them. It's allowed me also to take for the day and say, I'm working, but you're taking photographs. So I park up, write my stuff, shoot my videos, talk to business associates and clients online, and he's off taking photographs, which are beautiful. If it wasn't for the technology, he'd be frustrated at home saying, why aren't we out? And I would be going, this is not a day off, it's a working day. So it knits the two together when it works really, really well.
What I'm loving about your story is that you're actually doing with this with your husband. A lot of the interviews that I've been doing have been single women who have been traveling alone. And so you're giving like an added dimension into, you know, the traveling lifestyle and how you can create money whilst you're traveling. So I really like that aspect of what you're doing.
I don't think he was as keen as me when we got started. And in all conscience, he's shaking his head looking at me now. I'm not sure he's as keen as me now that we all started. I think he's come around now. It's warmer. When we first started, the biggest challenge was not freezing to death overnight because we couldn't understand the heating system. The last few weeks, the biggest challenge has been how to stay cool, which is a lovely new challenge. And, you know, we've got all the windows open here and the fly screens on and that works. So I think he's coming around to it. Obviously, the biggest challenge about having two people as opposed to one is somehow you have to agree where you're going.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just you go when you want, how you want, whatever. And that on a good day is brilliant because he adds places he wants to go to places I want to go. On a bad day, it's awful because he doesn't want to go where I want to go and I don't want to go where he wants to go.
So how do you sort those out?
He doesn't drive.
So you go where you want to go.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't, when you've got two people planning something as opposed to one, inevitably there's going to be some conflict about what you're doing and how it's going to work. I mean, he's very good most of the time. But also what I've discovered is he likes to go where we said we'd go and get there at the time we said we'd get there.
Yeah.
I'm quite navigationally challenged. In even yesterday with true sat-navs, we had a kind of Schrodinger's cat sat-nav moment where neither of them would tell us where we were or what was going on. So we actually managed to get lost in Gloucestershire, which is quite an achievement. It's not exactly wild. But I mean, very seriously lost. The sat-nav went, I can't find the link. And the other one went, I have no idea where we are.
Yeah. For
him, that's quite anxiety-provoking. He's a very organised person. That's not his idea of a laugh. I thought it was all part of the adventure. So it's different because there are two of us involved. It's much better in some ways, but there are other times when it's difficult.
So what have you learned about yourselves through this experience?
What have we learned about ourselves? I think Clive might have learned a bit about going with the flow. And I think I've learned a bit about trying to create a structure that works for him. Because I'm a real go with the flow person. How I didn't back this van into the river today, I don't know. So I keep joking with him and saying we should have got an amphibious version. And he thinks I'm making this up. But actually, if I had the money, I so would.
Don't blame you.
You know, so I think compromise. I think also we don't live in the van. We work in it and we sleep in it. We hardly ever cook in it. we have learnt the knack of parking up in a pub car park and eating out. So one of the things we learnt after a slightly longer than usual trip was buy salad, because we nearly ended up with scurvy. You know, we had that many meals with no raw vegetables, no salad in it. We were both beginning to feel quite peculiar. So different ways to make it work, really. I wouldn't do this for 6 unbroken weeks. It's not. If I didn't have a house, I would have to check into a hotel every now and then and go, okay, just beam me up hot and cold running water that isn't temperamental, isn't limited by the capacity of my tank. And could somebody please tell the laundry it's all coming? It's weird, you know, you have a normal house for an English person with a dishwasher and a microwave, and then you go and live in a field and wash up by hand, and you don't have a dishwasher or a microwave. So there are limits to how enjoyable that is.
Yeah. I think at the same time, though, it's really, I think you get that better connection with nature when you're actually having that lifestyle. I certainly do, but I don't know about you.
I've only got too connected with nature this afternoon. I parked up here and opened the back doors, and a lot of flying ants or something all came in. So if we'd not chased them all out with a broom, if we were still so successfully connected with nature, this would be a very lively video. So yeah, it's lovely to connect with nature, but some parts of it bite. But yes, we've just been on a 7-mile walk round the lakes at Cricklade, were we, in the Cotswolds? Absolutely beautiful. That was a networking walk, so that was even better. So we were working. I'm quite looking forward later on to putting my feet up. That was enough connecting with nature for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
I may connect with my streaming video later and do something urban.
I've got some good essential oils, by the way, that are good insect repellents if you need them. Can I just go on to top tips? What top tips would you give to anybody who's considering doing what you're doing?
If only you could get them to me. The various vans before we bought them, because the one that we would have bought after we'd hired it for a week, we realised there's no way we could live in. So it depends how you live in your van and what you want to do, because for me this is a live workspace, so to have a fixed double bed taking up half the space all the time is ridiculous. Also, many vans have very little sitting space even around the dining table. I'm an English size 16, which is hardly skinny but hardly outsize, and we have hired vans where I could not sit around the dining table because there wasn't enough space for me. So I would definitely say it seems like a waste of money, but try before you buy, big time, because how you use it may not be how other people use it. So that would be a very big tip for me. The next one would be add the technology you need. We added solar power because we knew we didn't want to be looking for electrical power every night, every time we stopped. And I have to be online at least 2 or 3 times a day. Yeah, there's no power here. We're not on electric hookup. This is sun that gave us this. Brilliant. Such as it was today. Cloudy sun.
That's really good. And if people want to connect with you,
and obviously you've got to be able to do something, unless you're retired, that allows you to pay for it all.
And do you find that, you know, with traveling around,
you can find me on Twitter under my name, Annabel Kaye.
And do you have a website?
Sorry, that dropped. I do. My Coffee Clutch website, which is all about freelancers and how to contract them and pay them, is koffeeklatch.co.uk. So I have a Twitter stream, I have a website, I have a Facebook page in that name, and you will also find me on Facebook under my own name, telling you whether or not I've successfully managed to get the shelter drain.
Well, I will be checking in tomorrow to see your progress, and hopefully the shower will drain.
There's a lovely biker next door who looks quite strong enough to unlock the plug. So I think after this, I may go next door, because he looks like a man with strong wrists, to see what he can do.
Oh, good. And that's a great ask for help when you need it.
Oh, absolutely. But obviously, you know, I'm not traveling solo. Whether I will be inviting him into my camper van if I were, will be another question.
Annabel, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your golden nuggets with us this evening. I really love talking
You're,
to you. You've got a wicked sense of humour. I love it.
you need it. If you go two people in a Fiat Ducato, you need to learn how to laugh.
Well, enjoy the rest of your evening and lots of love.
Lots of love to you. Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything that you do.
Time for the gin. Good night. Bye.
Bye bye.